and welcome back to the Airshow Room podcast. It has been an emotional, depressing, exciting, and everything in between week for Airshow news. We've had cancellations to magnificent announcements, and we're going to dive right into everything in today's podcast, which I'm sure is going to be upsetting and exciting at the same time. My name is Dan, I'm your host, and joining me are my two co-hosts, Harry.
Hello.
And Chloe.
Hello.
Just about a word of warning to start off the podcast. It is currently, as of recording, 27, 28 degrees Celsius. So if we sound like we are done with life, that's probably why. Because it is absolutely roasting here in the UK today of recording. And I'm regretting life decisions to record today.
It is very hot, yeah.
And the sad news makes it even worse.
The sad news does make it worse.
Yeah.
And we might as well start with the sad news. For those of you that may have not seen, and if you haven't, I'm sorry to have to break this news to you, the Royal International Attitude 2026 has been cancelled due to the deployment of US Air Force bombers at RAF Fairford this year. It was announced on Friday, I believe.
Yeah, literally the day after they'd announced a really good Italian hull.
Oh, yeah, so it was just after we got the Italian announcement. And then, on the Friday, we got the news that, unfortunately, RIAT has been cancelled this year. And they plan to take it place next year, in 2027. It's still meant to be at Fairford. They are looking for a secondary location compared to this year, because they just said they didn't have enough time. Obviously, when they started planning for this year, it'd been back in August 2025. They've been planning well 12 months in advance.
With no signs that there's going to be any space.
So, unfortunately, it is out the way. It's fortunately not going to go ahead after some really cool things being announced. It's upsetting. However, I think we've got to take the positive spin on it now. If whatever you have gone and got a refund from RIAT, you've gone and got a refund from your accommodation, you're saving money now, not going there, go and spend it on another local air show. Go to one of your closer air shows, because, well, we're about to talk about some of the really cool things that these air shows have got over the next 30 or 40 minutes, because there are some absolute gems in these air shows.
They're keeping us aviation enthusiasts well.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially with the loss of RIAT.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, really, really looking forward to the future of air shows and going forward from here. But we'll see what goes on from here. I'm going to try not to rant about anything later on, but I'm sure we're going to talk about the red arrows at some point. And then I'll probably start ranting again. So I do apologise for that in the future. But yeah, it's happened. It's over. There is a rumour that the theme for next year's Tiger Meet. It's come out in like a few like really random like news articles from like the Gloucestershire News Post and Swinton Live and stuff. So whether or not these are actually true, apparently they're talking to the CEO, so I'd assume that they're true. But yeah, it's meant to be potentially a Tiger Meet next year, so we'll see when that officially gets announced. But yeah, just take whatever money you've got, give them back if you're not rolling over your tickets. It's next year. Go and support the local air show because it'll be worth your while. I 100% agree.
And they'll definitely make up for the loss of RIAT this year for you, especially if you've got kids.
Yeah, 100%.
They'll absolutely love any air show you can get to that's as close as you can get.
Yeah, so let's spin it straight onto a positive then. We've talked about RIAT and the unfortunate cancellation. Let's go straight to the opposite side of the neck of the woods of the aviation world. Let's go to something very, very exciting. Now, Shuttleworth, as you know, we've talked about on many, many different occasions, have many different shows, and they have announced two very cool items for two different shows. We'll start with the Shuttleworth Festival of Flight, and this was something that was announced yesterday? The day before? Friday? Was it the Friday of RIAT, or was it the Saturday? It was the Saturday, wasn't it?
Pretty sure it was the Saturday.
Which they have announced a very German addition to their display, haven't they, Harry?
Yes, indeed. They have a very surprising thing that's got me very excited, as well as someone else who I will not reveal what messages he was sending to me yesterday, almost having an absolutely crazy reaction to it. Is the
I did not say any profanity whatsoever in the messages.
I never implied you did say anything profane. I only implied that you were very happy.
There might have been,
aubergine
emojis, 5 or 10 swear words in the space of 30 seconds. I was very excited. Anyway,
And this
come
is
on,
what
we're leaving the viewers hanging. What's going to be announced?
the BF-109.
So the Messerschmitt BF-109 from Germany that's recently restored to flight. It's the BF-109E, isn't it?
Yes, it is the BF-109E, and this, for me, this is very exciting because, for once, it's not. If I'm correct, this is not the Spanish variant. This is not a Spanish variant.
Yeah, so we've seen in the UK, there's one based at Duxford, that's the Bouchon. It's the Merlin-powered version of the BF-109. This isn't.
Sounds better.
This is the actual proper powered BF-109. I don't actually know what the engine is off the top of my head. But yeah, it's the original BF-109 engine. And as of recording this yesterday, which would have been the 24th of May, the BF-109E actually made its way into the Headcorn Aerodrome, and then is apparently going to Sywell later today as well. Just as an engine, because Chloe searched up very, very quickly for me, it's a Daimler-Benz DB605 inverted V12 liquid-cooled engine. So there you go. That's the engine it's got, and it sounds. It did a low flyby as it came into Headcorn, and oh my word, that engine sounds glorious.
Is that? Am I detecting a hint of blasphemy against the sound of a Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, Dan?
You are slightly, yeah, but that's because I've never ever
Disappointed.
seen a BF-109, especially with the original engine.
I mean,
flying.
neither have I.
Neither of any of us. The last time I believe one that wasn't a replica flew in the UK was 1997. So a long while ago. I think it's about 30 years. So what an absolute pull for Shuttleworth that is for the Festival of Flight, which Cammy already had is looking to be an absolutely brilliant show.
Indeed.
Like, some of the things they've got, all the Red Bull stuff. They've got the Avaranson Mark 1. Now this. I mean, come on, let's all know what the BF-109 needs to be displaying with. If there isn't a tail chase between the BF-109 and at least one Spitfire,
I'd be very disappointed.
Come on.
Especially as this is the... Oh, I do apologise, Chloe. I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's all right. You go and I'll go on after.
No, you go first.
I was going to say we don't care what Spitfire, just as long as it's a Spitfire.
Yes.
Indeed. It doesn't matter about historical authenticity as long as it's a Spitfire.
Yes. A Spitfire,
And especially,
get it going.
And especially as since this, as my fellow host said yesterday in a quite a very funny instance, so this is the first time they've been in the UK since the 1940s, isn't that right, Dan?
Yeah, well, I would say that was correct, but then I got self-corrected myself when that's not actually the case. So
yeah,
that's unfortunate. Though I'd like to think that was the case because it'd be quite funny. But no, it's not.
No, it's not. But no, a very exciting addition to Shuttleworth, and I'm very excited for it. As I said, I'd be very disappointed there is no tail chase, but I'll be happy just to see and hear a BF-109.
Yeah, and then adding on to the Festival of Flight, then we've not just got the BF-109 that's been announced. We've had multiple other aircraft that have been announced, being the Blenheim, the P-51 Mustang Francis Dell from Germany, and Bristol, the Bristol C-Type C replica, I believe, as well. So all of those have been added to the Festival of Flight, which, yeah, like I said, it's just becoming like one. Like if there was an air show that I'd take my RIAT money, if we hadn't already booked, that is, take my money and put it in from RIAT, it would be this air show, because there are so many different things for you to go see. And that curved display line is just beautiful as well. For any of you that are avid aviation photographers out there, that curved display line has lots and lots of top sides, which is obviously, as we know, one of our favourite things to get from air shows.
Especially when the sun hits it just right.
Yeah,
that shine.
Indeed.
So I think we'll move on to P-51 Francis Dell, because there is actually a bit of history behind this aircraft, where it came from, what it went on, etc. I think Chloe's about to take us through that.
So for those of you that don't know, it wears the colours of the 84th Fighter Squadron, which is represented by the checkerboard pattern at the front, which is definitely iconic. You gotta love a checkerboard at the front.
Yeah, it's very nice.
And it was built in 1944, but put into storage until 1950, before being transferred to the Royal Canadian Air Force. And then in 1959 it completed its service, where it became a civilian registered aircraft, and then in 1963 it had a crash near Indianapolis.
Oh
Did I say
no.
that right?
Yeah, you did say it right, yeah.
Yes.
Indianapolis.
And it went into a restoration project which lasted 20 years before it returned to flight. And it transferred owners a couple of times before. In 2011, the aircraft had a landing gear collapse and went into another restoration project. And that was when it was painted with the checkerboard from the 84 Fighter Squadron and named Francis Dell. And currently it is owned by Flying Legends, who purchased the aircraft in 2020.
So yeah, so it's now based in Germany by the Flying Legends corporations. They also own the Corsair that's based out there in Germany.
I love the Corsair.
So yeah, what a bit of history for the airframe, and it's been through multiple restoration projects. So it's been nice to see it in the UK. And obviously it adds to the other loads of warbirds that we're going to be getting at the Shuttleworth Festival of Flight Airshow, which I'm really looking forward to. Really looking forward to now. Speaking of other Shuttleworth shows, I am going to skip on from the Blenheim and the Bristol Type C. I'm going to go to the Shuttleworth Festival, not Festival of Flight, the Shuttleworth Summer Air Show. That's the heat getting to my brain already.
Mig.
Can you tell what it is?
Yes, I will. While Dan is collapsing in a fit of laughter, I will take over from here. Yes, the Shuttleworth Summer has announced the MiG-17, which I am very excited. Honestly, the MiG-17 is popping up everywhere, and I am very happy about this. More
I do
people
have
are
to
going to
admit,
get to see it.
At the start of this year, when we started this podcast, did you think that you'd be talking about the MiG-17 turning up to like 4 or 5 different air shows in the UK?
I didn't even think that the MiG-15 would turn up, but
so
let alone a MiG-17.
This is not the only air show that we're going to talk about the MiG-17 being announced for today, but yes, it has announced for the Shuttleworth Summer Air Show, which is the weekend after RIAT, or what was RIAT. So again, if you're looking for an air show around that time and you may have got some time off, it's the start of the summer holidays as well. Any of you that have got kids, so maybe having some time off for that, they've got that. Now, they've not announced a lot necessarily to start with. There's been a few announcements, but my guess is that similarly to the Wings and Wheels show and stuff, where after that show had been passed, the Festival of Flight announcement started to ramp up. My guess is after the Festival of Flight's been and we get towards the start of that, we'll probably see the ramp up of the Summer Air Show. But again, we talked about that curved display line, the MiG-17 on the curved display line. Hello.
It's going to be so nice.
Yeah, well, indeed.
So yeah, that'd be really cool. And again, we've talked about the MiG-17 God knows how many times now, and it's not going to be the last time we talk about it this podcast.
No, it definitely isn't.
But yeah, they definitely seem to be making the best use of their restoration project and getting it over to the UK as many times as they possibly can to show us here, which we're really lucky to have. Just, I guess, coming out of Poland, because they're absolutely everywhere this year. They're all over Poland. They're all over Europe, flying about. So yeah, amazing sort of stuff.
Indeed. And just speaking on the MiG-17, obviously reminded me another sad thing with the cancellation of RIAT is that I will not get to see the MiG-15, and I have now just realised now I'm even in a more bad mood because I get to miss out on one of my favourite aircraft of all time.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can...
I just remembered this as well.
Yeah, hopefully we can soften the blow with
Indeed.
seeing the MiG-17 a couple of times.
Oh yes, that will fill the void in my heart.
Oh dear. Anyway, so moving on to, I guess now, what is probably the biggest air show or military air show now in the UK this year. We are going to have Cosford Air Show, which is coming up really soon, in 3 weeks.
Indeed.
So they have announced quite a lot over the last couple of weeks. Specifically, in my opinion, some gems, or a gem for the static display. But we'll start with the flying. So they have announced 4 flying apps. I'll run through them, then we'll go into more specifics. So they've announced the Spitfire Mark 14 from the Rolls-Royce Heritage Flight. They've announced the Spitfire Mark 9 from the Dutch Historical Flight, I believe. They have announced the Royal Navy Black Cats, or should I say Black Cat, and the Swordfish from Navy Wings. So they're all going to be taking part in the flying display. Now, and we might as well start with the Black Cat, or the Black Cats, being the Royal Navy's display team currently, which will be displaying this year as only one aircraft, so one Wildcat. Unfortunately, as due to operational commitments, they can't do their dual display as they normally do.
Boo.
Yeah, boo, exactly.
Boo.
But it's going to allow probably for more of a dynamic display, I'd assume, from the solo aircraft.
That's it.
And I can't remember who's the pilot for this year. Can't remember.
Jim Fraser.
Jim Fraser. So yeah, really looking forward to that at Cosford. But I guess it also links into the Navy wings because the last couple of years they've tried to fly the Swordfish with the Wildcats, haven't they? I
Yes,
believe
yeah.
last year they flew with both Wildcats before the display.
I believe they did, yes.
So that'll be something really, really to look forward to. You know, it's very much an homage to the historical part of the Royal Navy to then now the current idea where our Wildcats are used for very much similar purposes to what the Swordfish is. You know, the Swordfish was used as primarily anti-submarine and scout, where did I say Swordfish? Did I say Wildcat? I can't remember. The Swordfish is used for anti-submarine, etc. And the Wildcat's exactly the same. It's used for anti-submarine warfare. They can carry torpedoes. So it's really, really similar, just completely in different form.
Yes, and it's always a nice display as well, so it'd be interesting to see what they do with just the one this year.
It will be. It's always nice to have the two. I think adding the two allows that dynamic sort of idea up and down the crowd line.
Yes.
But
because it's so much easier to stretch a display across the crowd line when you've got two helicopters.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on. But yeah, really, really looking forward to that and seeing if they get to fly it again once again with the Swordfish because, I mean, yeah, it's...
Who doesn't love seeing that?
Exactly, who doesn't love seeing that?
Indeed.
Also added to the flying display this year, as I mentioned, is two more Spitfires. So we've got the Rolls-Royce Spitfire, which is the Mark 14, I believe, and is also the Mark 9 from the Dutch Historical Squadron. Now, we've seen the Dutch Spitfire either last year's show or the year before, I believe, but I can't necessarily remember which show it was. Now, the last two Gosfords basically merged very much into two for myself. I don't know if it's the same for you guys, as that both of them were very grey and dull, and stopped me wearing my shorts, and I had to put jeans on. And I remember saying for about 10 minutes straight for both shows, it's a great call for me putting on jeans.
Yeah.
But that's basically all I can remember, just combining the two together in terms of the same show. Now, the Dutch Spitfire is obviously something that's not seen in the UK quite a lot. Quite frankly, I think is the last time it was in the UK was Cosford. So it's really, really cool for that to get an extra Spitfire flying about.
It is, and who doesn't love a Spitfire as well, regardless of what mark it is?
Yes, and it's in a really beautiful silver chromey colour.
It is.
With the Dutch markings. And then additionally to being announced to the 4 flying acts, we've had a heck of a lot of aircraft announced for the static display for Cosford. Now, a lot of the aircraft that if you've been to Cosford many a times you'll have seen before, as they are the aircraft that they use to train the new mechanics of the Royal Air Force up. So just to list out very quickly all the aircraft, we've got 2 Hawks, both T1s. One will be in Red Arrows colours, and one will be in the standard training black scheme. We will have multiple Jaguars, as that is the primary aircraft that we use for the sort of testing and maintenance there. There will also be the DA4, which I believe is the prototype variant of the Typhoon. And then there also is going to be a Tornado on static as well, which I believe is all the aircraft they've announced. Now, one of the Jaguars, I believe, was one of the announcements yesterday, is going to be in full operational configurement / loadout, allowing you to see it in what it would look like if it was ready to go out.
It is, and it will be located within the Defence Operational Training Area on the showground for those of you that want to go and see what a fully loaded Jaguar looks like.
See, I'm hoping, when they say the Defence sort of loadout area, I can't think where that is. If it's the area at the back where they've got the sort of the hard stand kind of booth where they put the jets last year, that's really cool to see them in the operational hangars and stuff up there because it really allows you to get good photo opportunities.
Yeah, based on the photo, it looks like it could be around the back area.
Okay.
That does look like it's parked at the back.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it'll be
hopefully
like
so. But yeah, if you go to Cosford, there'll be loads and loads of Jaguars. It's probably one of the biggest collection of Jaguars in the world, surely now.
Yeah, I've never seen so many Jaguars in one place.
Back in, was it 24, we had the Jag line? Or the cat line. It was the cat line, didn't they? The catwalk.
Yes,
They
it
called it
was.
the catwalk. That was it. Where they lined up, was it like 12 or 16 Jaguars together?
At least 12.
It was something. It was a stupid amount of Jaguars all lined up together, but it was really cool to go and walk down and have a look at.
But a nightmare to try and photograph when you're trying to fit all of them in a good enough angle that it looks cool.
Yeah, because that was the year that we also had the F-16 line at RIAT as well.
Yes.
So we had the photo platform for that, which was easier to grab
Yeah.
a photo of 16 different F-16s rather than...
creatively trying to like crouch
Yes.
down on the floor and angle it so you can get all the noses in and
Yeah,
all the tails sticking out behind each other.
we tried.
Indeed.
But yeah, so great additions to the display as always for them. But I think the one that I'm looking forward to the most is not something that's based there regularly. It's actually the Dutch C-130. Now, the last time I remember a big aircraft being in Cosford was 2023 or 2022. And I believe it was the last time we had the C-130 on the static display for the RAF. Now, it's always nice to get a big, heavy aircraft on the static display, and Cosford is always quite challenging with that because they're on such a small airfield.
Yes.
But it's nice to see that we are going to have something big, and hopefully something that we can walk through, because without having RIAT now this year, seeing all the static aircraft, because you normally don't see these big military aircraft. So
No.
seeing the Dutch Apache that's already coming, seeing this aircraft now, it's going to allow us to see, the Belgian AW109.
Yeah.
It's going to allow us to see these military aircraft up close that we wouldn't have seen, we won't see now because of RIAT. So it's going to be really nice to see that.
Especially with the tail markings, because if it's the one they've used on the static photo, it has a bull on the tail.
Does it?
It does. So hopefully we see one like that where it has like just something that makes it unique from other C-130s.
I hope so, yeah. It's genuinely one of my favourite transport aircraft. I'm still annoyed that we retired them as part of the RAF to go for the A400, which we had our reasons for. But yeah, it's really, really nice to see that on the static display, and hopefully we can have a walk around and go inside of it.
Fingers crossed.
To sort of get rid of the RIAT depression, which I'm sure we'll keep mentioning throughout this podcast. Right, let's move on then from Cosford, because I believe we've mentioned everything. So it was quite a long list because they'd announced all their sort of normal stuff, which I believe we have.
Just as a quick side note, if you do want to know more about the Cosford specific ones, I believe they do have information boards around the hangars where you can read about the different ones, even if they're not in the hangars themselves at the time.
Yeah, 100%. So let's move on then. Very quickly, I'm going to touch on a couple of shows that we've talked about aircraft before being at these shows or being at other shows. The MiG-17 is making another appearance.
Meg.
That's what I was waiting for. So, Eastbourne Airshow, which is on the south coast, have announced 2 classic jets to take part in their flying display. Now, the MiG-17 will be taking part in the weekend part of the flying display, so I believe on the Saturday and the Sunday. And the Sabre will be taking part in the midweek, which I believe is the Thursday and the Friday. So they will have the Sabre, which we can talk about. That's recently moved to Red Bull.
Yeah.
So it was originally part of Mistral Warbirds, which we talked about at the start of this year. But Red Bull have acquired now the F-86 Sabre and are adding it to their ever-growing fleet of classic aircraft.
Yes, it's impressive how many classical aircraft they're actually managing to get. And I really hope they don't just slap a giant Red Bull logo on the side. I wouldn't mind a small one if they had to put one on, but not a massive one that takes away the beauty of the aircraft.
Personally, I have a bit of hope, because when you look at the aircraft that they've acquired more recently, so the Bearcat, I think, for example, and the P-51 Mustang, both of which have a small Red Bull logo on, I believe.
Yeah.
Underneath the cockpit. I think the Corsair's a bit different. I think it's got something on the tail. And obviously the DC-6 and the B-25 both have massive Red Bull logos on the tails.
Yeah.
But it's nice that Red Bull, as much as they may stick a Red Bull logo on the side of it, we get to see these historic aircraft still fly. Because quite frankly, with the UK aviation scene sort of in a sort of weird era where a lot of our aircraft are being shipped out, we have a lot of aircraft transferred to America and Australia recently, especially our Spitfires and Mustangs. We need people like Red Bull who can, quite frankly, chuck a lot of money towards these things.
Yeah.
And
help keep them maintained to be
Yeah.
able to fly for many years to come.
yeah, and if Mistral Warbirds, for whatever reason, said, look, we can't afford to keep this running, and Red Bull have gone, yeah, no, we'll buy it and allow you to still fly, because it's still the original pilot that's going to be flying it.
Which is good.
He's just transferred over to the Flying Bulls fleet. And again, look, I'm all for the Flying Bulls to keep purchasing aircraft. You know, they bought the Blue Angels liveried Bearcat, I think it was, or is it Bearcat? Something like
I
that.
believe it's a Bearcat.
So they've slowly been acquiring these aircraft, and look, if we get to see them in the skies, and they don't stick a massive Red Bull logo everywhere, I'm down.
Definitely. Because as much as they have to put the mark on it, just do it in a way that's subtle and nice.
Yeah.
That you still have the majority of the classical air design there.
Do you know what I'm wondering? Because a lot of their aircraft that they've painted chrome, haven't they? Bar the Corsair, bar the Wildcat. If you think about the B-25, the DC-6, the Mustang, and the P-38, all of them are in chrome.
Yeah.
Now, the Sabres were originally in that silvery chrome colour.
They were.
So I wonder whether or not they will actually transfer it back to a silver colour.
Maybe.
Because it's if you haven't seen the Sabre before, it's in a grey and green camo.
Pretty sure it's greenish.
Yeah, it's a green and grey camo, I believe. So I wonder whether or not they actually might paint the Sabre at some point chrome.
Bring it back to originality.
Potentially. It also matches the rest of their fleet as well.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we'll see that. Obviously, we don't know. We'll see what happens. And if the Flying Bulls want to purchase a couple of other really cool aircraft, especially some classic jets, please and thank you, get them up and running, then I have no issues with that, as long as we get to see them in the UK, which my guess is that the Red Bulls keep bringing their aircraft over here, so...
I hope so.
Yeah, so as long as we're nice to them, maybe they'll just send everything we ask for.
Definitely seems it this year.
Definitely.
Yep.
So yeah, that's Eastbourne. They've got the Sabre, they've got the MiG-17, good additions. Obviously, I think Eastbourne's on the same weekend as something else. That's why I think I think it's on the same weekend as the Shuttleworth Festival of Flight, so I think they're sharing the MiG-17. Chloe's just about to research that to figure that out. So, but yeah, I believe that they're sharing it to have two different displays.
August 13th to the 16th is Easter.
Never mind, then I've lied.
You just lied to our listeners, Dan.
Yeah, that's not correct. It's in August.
Disappointing. And here's me, who's going to make a Red Bull gives you wings joke, but I couldn't think of anything that would naturally flow in the conversation.
So, yes, great additions to Eastbourne. Well done to them. Headcorn have got two Piper Cubs, I believe, both being on static for their show.
Yes.
We've talked about the Piper Cub loads of times. We've talked about Little Blue Cloud and everything. So that'll be good additions for Headcorn. Midlands Air Festival, which is coming up very, very soon. We are 5 days away. Well, 4 if you're going on the Saturday. 4 days away to the start of Midlands Air Festival, which is the start of the Airshow Room's Airshow calendar, which basically means every other week from this point onwards we're going to go to an airshow. Get in. They have announced two aircraft to replace aircraft that have not been able to make the show. So just to run over those very quickly. The Spartan 7 and the Spitfire Mark 14 from the Rolls-Royce Heritage Flight both will not be able to make the show this year. However, they've replaced both aircraft with, well, one appropriately with another Spitfire, and one which is the S260, or the F260, I believe, which we've seen at Midlands Air Festival the year before.
Yeah, so starting with the SF260 Marchetti, I believe it's pronounced.
It's a Marchetti.
It will be flown by Paul Freeland. So for those of you that don't know, the Marchetti was built as a military and aerobatics trainer, and around 900 were built, with its first flight being in July 1964. So the SF-260 variant was the one sold to the military and could be used as a light attack aircraft, and it's been produced in both piston and turboprop variants, and is still in service with multiple militaries around the world.
I think Belgium still have them in service as well, as one of the closer ones. I know Turkey and Libya and all of these different, a lot of African countries, Chad and everything had them. I think they even used them as light attack aircraft at some point.
Yeah, because when RIAT was on Dead South Africa on the list, I was hoping that they might send one. if they had one available. But that dream's all over now. For this year, anyway.
Well, yeah.
And one last fun fact about the Marchetti is that it was used to shoot down James Bond's Dakota in Quantum of Solace, for you film fans out there.
Yeah, shoot down in quotation marks. If they
Yes.
didn't actually shoot them down, but yeah, it was used as the attack aircraft in Quantum of Solace to shoot down James Bond. So that's always a fun little fact for the SF-260. But yeah, no, nice little addition. It's a little quick, nippy aircraft. It'll do very, very similarly, I assume, to what the Spartan 7. As much as it's a shame, because obviously, as Harry told us in a couple of podcasts ago, only around 30 of the Spartan 7s were built. So it's a shame, rarity-wise, not to see them. But they've replaced it, which is always nice. And yeah.
And now we move on to the like-for-like replacement.
Yeah, so the Spitfire Mark 14 has been replaced by Spitfire Mark 12? Yeah, no, Mark 9? I think it's Mark 9. I believe it's the Mark 9 because I think that they Midlands Air Festival got it wrong. They put it as a Mark 11, and I believe someone corrected them in the comments saying that it was a Mark 9 instead of the Mark 11. I remember seeing that somewhere, but I can't remember now. Either way, so yeah, we'll be seeing this aircraft now. Actually, this is one of the more famous Spitfires. So I'm just going to read you a section off their website about the Spitfire. Just that you can understand why this is actually quite a special Spitfire. So it's well known as the most famous Spitfire still flying. 434 had a highly successful career in the RAF service during World War II and post-war in the film industry. Ray fell in love with the aircraft on his first flight in her in 1917. Subsequently, he bought her in 1983. Ray, of course, was known for being in the very first RAF Red Arrows team. This is Ray Hanna. This is what the Hanna break and the Hanna section of the Red Arrows is all part of. And then taken the converted Red One seat for 4 years. So basically, he bought this aircraft as a Spitfire, and it's his aircraft now, and it's going to be taking to the skies of Ragley Hall to have a Spitfire in the flying display and replacing the Rolls-Royce. Now, I can very much appreciate that replacing a Spitfire with a Spitfire is pretty good in my opinion.
It is.
This is.
Still get some sort of Spitfire. And we have Sarah Hanna to thank for that.
Yeah, so Sarah Hanna, one of the family members of Ray Hanna, will be taking part in the flying display in this Spitfire and will be flying it herself for the show. And Midlands Air Festival will put a thank you for getting such short notice to take part in the flying display.
I'm sure Midlands have put as well somewhere in the post that she will be around near where the Red Arrows display are. I'm not sure if she's taking part in the meet and greet, but they've worded it as if she might be around for that.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if you can see her about. And I'm sure that you can all go down to the fence.
And they'll have 3 red 10s there as well, just in case you can't find one of them. There'll be 2 more floating about somewhere for you to meet.
Exactly. So, lovely additions to the Midlands Air Festival to swap out those aircraft that obviously can't make it anymore. And then finally, we'll go into the last airshow stuff, though we do have one more thing to talk about at the end of the show, which will be interesting. But to start off with is the Old Buckingham announced 6 more aircraft to take part in the flying display, though I believe Little Blue Cloud might have been announced before. Just to go through them, we had the Last Dogfight, a Staggerwing, a Lysander, a Formula 1 Air Racer, and the RV8 plus Little Blue Cloud as well. So we can start going through these aircraft and talk about, we'll start off with the Staggerwing.
So that would be piloted by Nigel Wilson, and there will be 2 of those. One will be in military schemes and one will be in a bright yellow scheme. And we know that the one that will adorn the yellow scheme is called High Maintenance. And can anyone take any guesses as to why that's got that nickname?
Yeah, so it's called High Maintenance. That's because the Staggerwings, they are not very cheap to maintain at all. That's due to their highly complex aircraft. Now, they're actually a really cool aircraft, so doing some research into them, I already knew that it had a very powerful engine that could reach stupid top speeds. I believe it's up to something like 500 miles an hour. I didn't realise it could also take part in short takeoff and landing. which for a very fast aircraft is very weird. And that's why, as Harry can appreciate here, when it was built in 1932, I believe, was it 36? I can't remember which one.
First flight was 1932.
1932. The Allied forces actually used them in the World War II for cargo drops, taking people in and out of places they need to be within the battle arenas because they were able to land in such short airstrips. Also taking part then in the flying display, we'll talk about an aircraft that was used in the war, is the Lysander. So the Lysander is, or was, one of the scout aircraft which was used as part of sweeping the southern banks of our sea, but its also primary mission was taking people in and out of occupied France.
Not just anyone's spies.
Yes, spies in and out of occupied France to take part in the sort of the revolution, I guess, against the
French resistance.
Yeah, the Nazis in France. So really, really cool. And yeah, it's obviously how we then planted people in and out of that. And again, another part of history that Harry can appreciate with an aircraft that's had quite a cool part.
And it is only one of two left flying in Europe as well.
Yeah, so the other one I believe is based in Duxford, and that might not be correct actually. I can't remember. And then the other one is from the Aircraft Restoration Company as well. So two different Lysanders, and I believe both of them are in the UK, even though it says Europe. But yeah, they are the only one flying in Europe. So very, very nice to see those. And yeah, it's looking like all bookings will be a very nice little show with all the rest of the aircraft that they're going to be having there.
The other ones, so the aircraft restoration ones from Duxford and then Shuttleworth have one.
Ah, there you go. So Shuttleworth have one as well.
Yeah, and then you ignore the bottom two because they're just museum pieces, not actual flying ones.
Fair enough. Right, and then finally moving on, because one, it's starting to get really, really warm, and two, this podcast has already gone on for about 40 minutes now. We'll move on to the last thing that I want to talk about before the end of this. So in the US, they have announced something called the Maverick Act. I can't say Maverick Act.
Maverick Act.
Yes. Now, this is an act where, from the boneyard, they're going to transfer 3 F-14 Tomcats to one of the museums in the US. On the premises, they're going to try and get one of these F-14 Tomcats back flying.
At least one, this
At least one, yeah. So there is a potential that in the near future, well, I say near future, probably mid-term future, that in the US there may be a flying Tomcat back in the air, which is really, really cool.
Especially if you've seen how cool looking Top Gun.
Yes.
And just imagine actually being able to see one in real life outside of a film.
Yeah. Which definitely means that we need to take a trip over to America once that happens. Sorry, Harry, I'm going to drag you through.
Oh god, more blooming money.
And yeah, so that's just something I want to talk about at the end. Some more positive news. And there may be an F-14 Tomcat flying in the somewhat future of the airshow world. Hopefully it's soon.
It's the least I can do after blowing up the last flying ones in is it Iraq?
Yeah, exactly. So very, very good for that. Really looking forward to that. Now really looking forward to the airshow season. We're nearly there. We are nearly there. So close.
4 days.
4 days till Midlands Air Festival for us. And then obviously we're going to be at every other show that we can possibly get to, I'm sure, this year. Yes. Whatever air shows they may be. And just trying to take our minds off the sad part that was RIAT and the cancellation from that.
Indeed.
So yeah, if you're going to take anything from this podcast, from the things we've talked about, go buy your tickets for these other smaller shows. They have some cool things. Okay? They have cool things. So go see them. Go spend your money there. They're also cheaper than RIAT tickets. So you might be able to get 2 for the price of your RIAT ticket.
And most shows have plenty for the kids to do as well, in case they start getting a bit antsy and can't just sit and watch.
Yeah, especially if you want to go to like the Wings and Wheels show at Shuttleworth. There's cars and things on the ground. I think they've got like a Lightning McQueen and stuff, haven't they?
Herbie, DeLorean, a Jurassic Park Jeep.
Oh, okay.
Bumblebee from Transformers, if your kids like Transformers.
So exactly, everything that you want to go see is there at different shows. So go have a look, and hopefully you might bump into us at the shows. Who knows? You might see us. Anyway, thank you for listening. Honestly, everyone that listens to this podcast, it's genuinely amazing because you listen to us 3 ramble about planes for 40+ minutes every single time that we record an episode. And yeah, no, really, really appreciate that you all. Last time we had a podcast, we talked about how many listeners we had. We've gone up about 250 since then. We've got 555 streams just on Spotify alone. So thank you very much for that, because you're honestly, like, making us motivated more to carry on doing this sort of stuff, to talk to you about the planes that we ultimately love and all enjoy aviation for. Even if there is cancellations like RIAT, we're all really happy to go to these shows, to spend time at these other airfields and see all these cool aircraft.
And don't blame the RIAT organisers for what's happened, because it's not their fault at the end of the day. They were told that they could go ahead with it, and then it wasn't until the Friday after they'd announced the Italian lot that they were told it's not going to be possible for it to continue with the way things are going. And so at the end of the day, it's Trump's fault for starting an illegal war, and partially Starmer's fault for not having the backbone and stopping Trump from using our bases for an illegal war.
Anyway, we'll stay away from the politics and stuff. Keep being positive. Keep being, just go and support these other air shows. If it's the only thing that you get to do this year, and go and see some smaller air shows, heck, go find an air show to go and see the MiG-17. If that's anything that's talked about.
Yes.
They all put so much effort into it, so
They do.
they all deserve as much support as they can get. And most places sell really good patches as well.
Yes, so if you want to use TAP, you can still go get your TAP.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much. We've been the Airshow Room. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next episode, probably after Midlands. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.